So, good evening. My name is Michael Boyo, and I'm glad that you decided to book my time to help you through this interview process that you have. So, we're here today. You have an interview ahead of you for a role of a senior business analyst, financial systems with, I think it's Lumina, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, Linama.
Linama. Okay, here.
Yeah,
Linama.
Linama.
Okay. Methodologies is a manufacturing company
Yeah.
and they are looking for a senior business analyst. Okay, so let's just start with a very basic introduction of yourself. And you
Okay.
don't, like I said, you don't have to mention your name.
Yeah. So I have a background in the science field, and after my science degree, I've been able to get more than 10 years plus in the business analyst domain, and I have been able to, gather different experiences with, in the two different project methodologies, which are the agile project methodology and the waterfall project methodology. So in the agile project methodology, I've been able to involve myself in the different Scrum ceremonies, there's different Scrum ceremonies such as the product backlog refinement, the the 5 minutes team meeting, the the product retrospective, and all the other different product agile Scrum ceremonies, and also in the waterfall project methodology, I've been able to produce different documents and artifacts, such as the BRD, the business requirement document, the SRD, which is the solution requirement document, use case document, wireframe, and different other documents that is being used in the waterfall project methodology. I have excellent skill in the use of different tools. And we have different tools such as the Jira, Draw.io, Trello, and also the different programming languages or programming scripting languages like the SQL, the Tableau, the Power BI,
Okay.
and also
Let me stop
SQL.
you there, Dami. Let me stop you there. So, so the question was for you to introduce yourself. That was the question, right? Now, so let's look at it from normal day-to-day life. Let's say I meet you outside. Oh, I'm Michael Boyu. I'm an IT consultant. That's it. That's step one. And you say, oh, I'm John. I'm a medical practitioner. That's okay. Now, but you're not in an interview, right? But in an interview, you want to go a step further to tell us what's your background, a few things about what you've done, your hobby, what you do in your pastime. So if I were to answer that question, I would say, oh, thank you very much. I'm Michael, a multidisciplinary IT specialist with over 2 decades of cognitive work experience across multiple domains and multiple functional work streams, ranging but not limited to project management, business analysis, and software test management, all at enterprise level. I've had the rare privilege of working with different softwares in my over 2 decades of career within the IT space. I am hoping that in the course of this interview, we'll be able to dig more into the specifics of my career over the years. When I'm not working, I love to travel, visit friends and family, and enjoy time with colleagues. I look forward to our interaction this afternoon, and I'm hoping that at the end of the day, it will be a wonderful conversation. Thank you very much. And that's it. What you were answering me would have been a response to a question like this. Tell me tools that you've used in the course of being a business analyst. Because you started talking about Jira, Trello, Draw.io. So if I ask you that question, what will you answer me? Are you just going to repeat what you just said? Or if I'd asked a question like, what is your day today? When you said you were working at Wanesa Insurance, what's your day-to-day activities like? And then you can start telling, oh, thank you for that question. The key activities I do on a day-to-day while I was at Wanesa Insurance was meeting with stakeholders, eliciting requirements, you know, and in the course of doing that, I store my requirement documents in Jira, Confluence. I do my process mapping using tools like Draw.io, Lucy Chart. That's what you respond. And that's why I said those questions, as very simple as they may be, you might just be answering the wrong question. And that's very, very key. And the question I asked is a question you'll be asked at every interview. It's question number 1. And you can't spend 5 minutes answering that question. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Do you want to try again?
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you for asking that question. I'm a business analyst with over 10 years experience working in multidisciplinary fields, and I've also been able to work across different cross-functional teams. And in my over a decade of experience, I've been able to help different companies solve a lot of problems by eliciting requirements from stakeholders, breaking it into pieces, and transferring this to the technology team and working with them in producing a good solution or tool for the use of different companies.
Very good. Full stop. No, full stop. Okay. Full stop. And I will tell you why I said full stop. There's a concept of doing more with less. Okay. So I repeat that. The concept of doing more with less. I'll rather say something that is a little bit less than enough. And if my hearer, whoever is hearing me, is not satisfied, let them ask a follow-up question. You know why? If you say everything you have in your back pocket, then when they ask you a follow-up question, what do you say? You just go blank. So you need to be deliberate. You have more to say, but you deliberately don't say everything. So that even if I now ask you a follow-up question and the person asking is thinking that, oh, okay, I'm going to get him now because he didn't answer that part of the question. When you ask me a follow-up question, I say, you know what? I'm glad you asked. That's a good way to segue, no matter what the question is. Anything you ask me, oh, you know what, John? I'm sure glad you asked. I was actually coming to it, but I was just being cognizant of time management in the course of this interview. Do you see how I responded?
Yeah.
Now, your response now, this second one, is way better short, you are in, you are out. I know that you're a BA. The first one, I don't know. I just know that you're a worker until you started telling me Jira, draw.io. Oh, okay. You are a BA. But right out of the gate, I need to know who you are. I am dash, dash, dash. That's the way you start. The person knows your name. So my name is really relevant.
Okay.
So you need to introduce your intro has to be very articulated. Who are
I
you?
don't I don't need to tell them my name again, right? They already know my
No,
name.
they already know your name.
That's
Or
it.
maybe that part of the interview is already gone. It could be like, oh, okay. I mean, even if they say introduce yourself, yes, I am Michael and I consider myself. That's another way.
Mhm.
You need to have this, what I call them like bridge phrases to connect one aspect of speech to the next.
Mm.
And that's why I say, when I am asked to introduce myself, I may not just say I am, I'll say I consider myself. So I don't even need to say my name anymore because they have my resume in front of them. So they know my name. Thank you for that question, John. I will mention his name. I consider myself a seasoned business analyst with over a decade industry work experience across multiple sectors covering multiple domains. I've had the rare privilege of blah, blah, blah. Now, that question is you trying to walk through your resume in 90 seconds, only telling us things that you really want to tell us right out of the bat. You don't have to tell us everything. Your resume seems to be quite robust. You have like about 5 or 6 organizations that you've worked in. You mentioned them by industry. I've had the privilege to work in the banking industry, in the telecom industry, and in the finance industry. Whatever is in your resume, I don't know.
Mm.
So
Okay.
that right out of the bat, the person is understanding who you are, and that sets the tone for the question for the interview. And you want to literally tell them or give them a, 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 a perspective that makes you larger than life. And that's where, again, internalizing the JD. So, what are they asking for in the JD? There are keywords in the JD. They need somebody who knows how to gather requirements. They need somebody who understands project management principles. They need somebody who has worked with QA. So, in the course of your intro, you want to throw in a few things that set the tone that you are already a fit candidate for this role. I don't need stories about how you stayed with your grandmother when you were 2 years old. No, it's irrelevant. So when you are coming out of the gate, you want to come out of the gate with an impression that you first understand what's in the JD, because at the end of the day, the JD is a persona in itself. It's like, you know what? If you were to convert this whole place points I've highlighted and you want to convert it to a human being, that human being needs to be you, and that's the way you want to introduce yourself. So when you're introducing yourself, you want to let them know that you are a BA at heart. And I've also had the privilege of working closely with project managers because that's what it says here. Follow PPLM. Then there was one place they said, I think something about project management. You want to pick a few things from here just to let them know that you know why you came here. Then the next follow-up question can be, oh, by the way, Mike, why did you apply for this role? So that's the next question.
Sorry, Mike, before we go into the next question, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify and put everything in perspective. So I'll say I don't need to tell them my name again. Thank you for asking that question. I consider myself as a seasoned business analyst
Yeah.
with over a decade of
Yes.
experience.
And you know why you want to say that?
Yes,
Because they're asking for minimum of 6.
6 years.
Again,
Yes.
you are internalizing. You can't come here and say, I have 5 years of experience. They're not even going to talk to you. They're just going to laugh. As in, they won't laugh out, but they just realize, oh, this is not the kind of guy we're asking for. Because why did you apply for the role in the first place? You should have read the JD, right? I don't care whether what you're saying is true or not. That's
Yes.
irrelevant.
Yes.
But whatever you say needs to fit the JD. Does that make sense? And don't
It
worry
makes
about the
sense.
10 minutes and whatever. That's
Yes.
what
It
I'm
makes,
saying. It has
yes.
to fit the JD so that, because if you are not hitting the keywords in the JD, don't forget
Mhm.
somebody wrote the JD, and
Yes.
this is supposed to be the KPI for whoever they are going to engage at the end of the day.
Okay.
So most likely, if I were an interviewer, I would have coined this whole JD into categories of knowledge areas.
Okay.
And I want to know if the candidate has expertise in those knowledge areas.
Those knowledge areas. Okay.
So what I want to be hearing from the candidate is him actually articulating and trying to show me that he or she truly has expertise in those knowledge areas. So that's why the JD is the overarching roadmap and the compass for the entire interview process.
Okay.
That's why I use the word internalize. Every bit of the JD, you need to have it committed to memory.
Hmm.
There's no negotiating about that, because that's the only way for you as a person. Because they're not going to change the JD when you get to the interview. No, nobody does that. If you don't know what is in the JD by the time you show up, I can tell you are halfway not there.
Hmm.
Because ideally, they should be asking you questions from the JD
Yes.
with reference to your resume.
Hmm.
Now, if you had come to me for resume review, what we would have done would be that the resume is the dress. Sorry, the JD is the dress. Your resume is the person. And what do? We measure the person, right? And we find the dress that fits the person. But what
So
does that
meaning,
mean?
so
Sorry?
meaning that, yes,
Yeah?
sorry. So,
Yeah, go ahead. No,
so,
you go ahead.
so meaning that we will modify the resume to
Yeah?
fit the JD.
Absolutely. Now, that's the first great thing you said tonight. Absolutely. I don't care what you've done. I don't care where you've been. Your resume needs to be a square peg for the JD, which is the square hole. You don't determine the hole. No.
Can I quickly ask you, when you went through the resume, what did you think about it?
I didn't really go through the resume. So
Okay,
in the sense that, because we're not here for resume review,
that's true.
but when I went through it, it personifies somebody that seems to be a seasoned business analyst.
I felt that the resume was too long. It was prepared by my
Yeah, no, and,
Indian
and
guy.
that's fine, right? So what I'm saying
What
is
did
that, so I hear what you are saying. I don't want us to derail because time
Yeah,
goes very quickly.
yeah, okay.
But the resume kinds of speaks volumes, that
Good.
I can understand why somebody would actually invite you for
Okay.
an interview, because that's one thing your resume should do for you. That
Yes.
is the overall objective of a resume. That when
Okay.
somebody looks at your resume is appealing and speaks to, oh, I need to talk to this guy. I
Hmm.
need to talk to this lady. That's the
Okay.
job of the resume.
Resume. Okay.
That's the overarching job. So that's why if you're not getting interview calls, the first culprit is the resume.
So this resume is good enough for business
At least for
analyst
now,
role
I've not,
for
like I
now.
said, I've not done a detailed deep dive, but
Perfect.
at least at face value,
It's value.
I would
Okay.
want to say, it looks like this guy has been in business analysis for over a decade. Worked
Okay.
in about 3, 4, 5
This one, five.
organizations,
This
different,
one.
industries. Oh, let me hear him out. But
Okay.
you better be able to fit the bill. And
Hmm.
that's what I'm saying. By the time you say the first word, that first word also needs to resonate with what's in your resume.
And the first sentence that you recommend that I should say is, I consider myself as a seasoned business
Yes, because
analyst.
that's what's in your resume. We can bring up your resume.
Yes, with over 10 years work experience,
Yes.
spanning over different.
That's what you've put here. That's what is here. You think I'm just talking?
Yes, I
It's
know,
your
I know.
resume.
Yes, Yes.
That's what you should say.
Yes.
This is exactly what you should say. Like these
Hmm.
first 2 bullet points. That's what you should say. Now, you were going well when you said waterfall agile, but I don't need scrum ceremonies. No. If I don't know scrum ceremony as the person interviewing you, shame on me. And you're not here to come and prove anything. No, I will ask you. I would be the one to determine whether you know scrum ceremonies.
Hmm.
But you are only telling me you have extensive knowledge in multiple project management methodologies, ranging but not limited to the proverbial waterfall, the contemporary agile, and the twist, which is hybrid. And that's it. If they want to know more, let him ask, okay, what is your experience with agile? Then you start telling him. Why would you take agile versus waterfall? Then you answer the question. Stay on point. Because again, it's not the only question they're going to ask you.
So, Michael, so just to put it in perspective again,
Yeah.
if I'm going to answer that first question now, the only thing that I'm required to say is just these two.
Like you don't need to go beyond the first 3. That's all. And then again, you now make it humorous by saying, when I'm not wearing the work hat, I love to travel.
Yeah.
I'm adventurous. I love to attend, event, whatever. Put it there. You're a
Hmm.
human being. You
Okay.
also want to connect with your interviewer emotionally. And that's
Emotionally.
the other aspect of, you need to go and also research the people. I mean, I went as far as telling a candidate that when we knew that her interviewer on LinkedIn put a note how he felt, emotionally drained when the person lost his mom. That's the interviewer, because we know the person's name. We went on LinkedIn and the person put that information on LinkedIn. And on
Hmm.
the interview prep like this, I asked the candidate, I said, I'm sorry, are your parents alive? And she was like, what do I mean? I said, I'm just asking, are your parents alive? And she said, no. I said, fantastic. And she was like, why? I said, yes. Your interviewer lost his mom 9 months ago.
Hmm.
That's a connect. Once you get in there, oh, Joe, by the way, I'm sorry about the demise of your mom. I read your LinkedIn post and I could relate because I'm also an orphan. I
Hmm.
know how it feels.
Do you
That's the
think it's
emotion.
right for us to go that personal with them?
So it's not personal. LinkedIn is a public domain.
Hmm.
So if you put something on LinkedIn, it's no longer personal. It's not private.
Hmm.
LinkedIn is a public domain. I
Okay.
reiterate. Facebook is a public domain. TikTok is social media. The word social media is the channel. Voice, text, video, audio is media, but it's social. Social is public. Does that make sense?
Immerse. Yes, it does.
So because at the end of the day, you are also being interviewed by a human being. And we, as human beings, we are relational beings. You need to seek connection. At the end of every interview, it needs to go from an interview to a conversation that both
Conversation.
sides are laughing. There will no longer be the firewall, the barrier that interviewer, interviewee. No. So that's why you need to also research the people you are interviewing, not just the organization.
Hmm.
You want to go on their LinkedIn profile. You want to go on YouTube, especially if they are senior people. What are they saying? So that when you walk into that room or you are on that Zoom call, you're able to say, oh, by the way, I saw one of your videos on YouTube. Fantastic, what you were talking about.
At what
It,
point do you think this conversation about LinkedIn and YouTube should come in? Should it be when they ask me, tell me about yourself, or
no,
when can
so
I put
you have to determine that as the interview progresses. You may or may
progressive?
not even use it,
Okay.
but there are usually icebreakers at the beginning,
Hmm.
depending if there's something that you feel is relevant, and especially if you are meeting with a senior person.
Okay.
Because let's say you get to a point where you are now meeting with a VP or whatever, At that level, you want to know what the VP is saying about the organization. It will tell you again, hopefully, some kind of strategic roadmap. Oh, sorry, this guy would cut off in 1 minute. So let's stop the recording here, and then we'll come back.